Hey, and welcome to our Tuesday live leadership chat. Today, I am talking with Steve Maina, who's the Bishop of the Diocese of Nelson in New Zealand. So I am so thrilled to be able to have him on with us today, and he's going to chat to us around his leadership learnings and key insights from leading in COVID-19, but also what it's like to be kind of opening up again and new things that are happening in that space. My name's Kylie Butler, and I'm a part of Christian Coaching Institute, which is Australia's leading Christian coaching organisation. And we've been coaching and training leaders in coaching for over 10 years now. So I'd like to welcome Bishop Steve. It is so great to have you with us today. New Zealand is the envy of so many nations as you guys begin to open up and you can move around and But I would love to hear, your insight. What have been some key learnings about leading in this crisis?
Thank you, Kylie. Thanks for the opportunity. Well, leading through this crisis, who would have thought at the beginning of the year we would find ourselves in this space? And I think that's part of it. As leaders, we navigate spaces that we've not gone before. It's an adventure to be able to lead. And so for me, in terms of learnings, I've learned so much about myself. I've learned a lot about my weaknesses, my strengths. I've learned, the things that are important to me. When we were in lockdown for about 10 weeks, you are stuck in one little space. You know what is valuable to you. You value your family because you're with them anyway, 24/7. You value the need to be able to have rhythms, fresh air, and you value your relationships, things that you take for granted. So I think I learned a lot about valuing the things that are important to me. My time with God, looking for hope as I spend time in prayer. But in terms of leading through crisis, one of the things that I have learned most through this time is watching our Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, lead the country through the COVID-19 pandemic. I was waiting every 1 o'clock when we got the news broadcast about the cases in New Zealand. I would watch her in the way that she led, and she was absolutely amazing. Some of the things I learned from her was the need to be consistent. She had very clear, consistent messaging, and she was calm, she was authentic, and the thing about it is that she was relatable. She would tell stories of a mother who is unable to go and be with her child or a parent who is dying because of the restrictions of not being able to go to hospitals. And she was able to share stories of how New Zealanders were responding to the crisis, and then give the principles of what was needed going forward in terms of uniting against COVID-19 and saying that we're going to get through this. We are a team of 5 million people in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
So I was incredible just to be able to see how she was able to frame the crisis and get people on board. And when there were negative, vibes about businesses are falling apart, people are losing their jobs, being able to give people hope. So facing the brutal facts about the reality of the disease, but also giving people hope. So I learned a lot from just watching our Prime Minister.
Yeah. Oh, and I think we've been certainly watching her as well to see her incredible leadership in such a unique season. Talk to me a little bit around your rhythms and routines. What kept you going in this season?
Yeah, so daily time with God, praying and reading the Bible was important to me. Being able to spend time with my team, so we have spent more time with my team than we've done before during COVID-19. So being able to connect with them every single day, having Zoom chats. I guess everybody now knows about Zoom, Zoom connections. Being able to connect with one another and being able to check in and see where everybody was at and supporting one another. Going for my run, I never missed a day where I would not put on my running shoes and get out for a run. I love being able to get fresh air, and I think it was a real privilege that we were allowed to actually go out and get fresh air. I find that when I go out running, I clear my head, I become sort of, my thoughts become clearer and sharper, and I have the energy to keep going. So if I feel lethargic or fatigue, and I go for a run, I come back with energy and with ideas. So it seems to me my prayer, my planning, my strategizing actually happens when I run. A 45 minutes run, I come back and I'm really pumped about the day and about what's ahead. So so the running was important. And because I used to get tired, in Zoom meetings, almost all day, I had a rhythm of every hour I would do 100 skips, sort of skipping rope. I had a skipping rope next to me on my table.
No way!
And I would just go skipping and skipping, 100 skips after every hour. So I had a timer, 100 skips after every hour. Was great. So, the day just went. It's a long day to be able to be in the house locked in and not being able to go out. So finding things that you can do every hour, going for a run, family time, would have dinner together with my wife and our teenage daughters, and then we'll play games, board games in the evenings. And it was great. We felt that there were helpful rhythms for us as a family, and I also had rhythms that were sustainable for me. So much so that when we moved out of lockdown, we didn't want to go out of lockdown. We were having such a great time.
Now that's something I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, in fact, I found that I was actually perhaps more productive during lockdown than I am right now when things begin to open up.
Wow. You talked around your team and that sense of actually kind of looking after your team. Yeah. What did you learn around that sense of your team in this season?
Yeah, well, I learned that as a leader, I've got to know the condition of my team. I've got to know where they're at. And I learned a lot about the need for to be able to check in and check what's going on. I would go for a run. I would come back with ideas. I'm sort of a big picture sort of a guy. I'll have 50 different ideas. If people are dreaming about the future and about planting churches and winning the lost and building God's kingdom, hit me with all your ideas. I can cope with 50 ideas a day. Now, I realize that my team were not keen on 50 ideas a day when they are finding it extremely draining and emotionally to be in lockdown. And so I felt there was a disconnect between where I was at in terms of the being ideas, big picture, and where people are at. And so to be able to have opportunity to check in with one another and see how is everyone feeling, what's going on for you, what are you finding very, very challenging, and how can we pray for you? Just being able to check in and find that time to be able to chat, and then ask questions like what has been bringing you joy in this season, what has been sustaining you, what is one thing that you've come across that team in that way. So I found that although it doesn't sound very productive, just being able to just check in and chat freely and have humor, I found that was actually quite life-giving for the team. And spending 45 minutes doing that enabled the remaining 15 minutes left of our 1 hour together to be actually quite productive. Because we were able to feel like we understood each other. Yep. So very important to be able to know where your team is at. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now that New Zealand's kind of beginning to open up again, it's certainly more than Australia or plenty of other countries. Like, what are some challenges or some things that you're noticing on the other side of this now?
Yeah, thanks, Kylie. I've realized that a lot of people during lockdown had come to the place as leaders to be able to say, hey, these are the things we're going to stop, and here are the things we're going to start. I was recording a video message every week for the diocese, and I love doing that. But now I'm finding I can't actually do that every week because things are opening up and life is getting busy, and now there's an impasse on meetings. And so I'm finding that for a lot of people, the things that they had planned to do during lockdown, they are finding it extremely difficult to keep up doing those things. I think many leaders had underestimated the pressure they will get to go back to what is considered normal. I'll give an example. You know, people who are running church services, maybe you're running 4 services a Sunday with maybe only a quarter full each of the services. Maybe during lockdown you thought, well, we can try and run 2 services instead of 4, and then we're going to live stream our services so that people can connect. Well, as the country has opened up, the people who wanted a traditional service in the morning, 8 o'clock, want that to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, so people don't want change, and I think many leaders may have underestimated the pressure they'll feel from people not wanting change. And I'm finding a lot of people are. I was trying to figure out what will they stop, what will stop, what will they start, and what will need adapting. And the encouragement I'm giving to my team is take your time. Don't feel like you've got to rush into everything new now that we're opening up. Take your time to listen to the people and maybe have a little bit of change, just slight change that is going to have significant impact in the long run. So I said to people, you know, what is the one thing that if changed today will have significant impact 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now? You don't need to change 20 things today, you know, like, you know, yeah, go back to normal, let people go back to what they're used to, but have one change that is going to be significant. And so identifying that one big win, I think, is key in this season.
That's awesome. Oh, so good. Now, Steve, I didn't plan this one in this space, but you talked earlier to me around the red behind you and the pattern behind you. Because it's such a beautiful thing. Tell me that story. Why is that behind you?
Yep. Okay. So we've got it a Conga, a Masai Conga, and it is used in Kenya. There's different the different colors of the Masai Conga. But for those of you who know a little bit about Kenya, we've got a tribe, the Masai people, who are known to be very, very courageous, very, very bold. In the past, back in the day, not right now because of poaching, but back in the day, they were known to be the one tribe in Kenya out of 42 different tribes that would have the ability to kill a lion. A warrior who had gone through a rite of passage as a Maasai would be recognized as a warrior having killed a lion. Now that's a massive, massive feat to be able to kill a lion, and they wear this Masai Conga. This particular Conga is known as a Masai Conga, and they wrap themselves. The warriors wrap themselves with this Conga, and they go out to the bush. And it said, the story goes, if a lion sees a Masai warrior wearing one of this, a lion will run away. Because they know that they're going to die. And so for me, when I come into my office a couple of times a day, I thought I need to put this Kanga up because my office is kind of dull. There's not much, color in it. But when I come in and I see this color, it reminds me each day of the need to be bold and to be able to make bold decisions like that Maasai warrior.
Yeah. And absolutely in this season to be able to be bold and courageous because we've never been here before. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. For those of you who are watching, who are actually looking at growing in your own leadership and development in those particular areas around questions, around leadership, around coaching, if you're interested in actually having better conversations, we've just re-released our 6-week self-paced online coaching course, which is available all of the time. So I'll pop a link in the comments for that. But for the month of June, there's a 10% discount that if you put the code in Tuesday, as in Tuesday today, the day we're launching this one, then you can get a little bit of a discount on that one. I'll pop the details in there for you. But today I'm so thrilled, Bishop Steve, to be able to hear from you and the leadership insights and learnings that you've had in the country that you're in such a beautiful part of the world. And the learnings that you've got around your Prime Minister and the incredible leadership that she has shown around consistency, clear messages, authenticity, but also kind of sharing the brutal facts, but actually yet giving hope at the same time. I love the rhythms and routines and the incredible amount of running and skipping that you've been able to do in this season. But what that shows is that ability to lead ourselves as well as lead our teams in that moment. And those sort of things we need to continue to do. But also I think a key point is actually around the learnings as you begin to open up, what we can actually learn from you, from New Zealand in this season as we kind of follow in your footsteps in that spot. So thank you so much, Steve. Anything else you want to share to those watching today?
I couldn't recommend coaching more because Kylie and her team have been coaching our team here in New Zealand as well during this season. And I just want to honor you for all that you do in terms of coaching Christian leaders across Australia, and we're benefiting from your ministry. So yeah, for the next season, I think being able to have a coach, having someone who is journeying with you, helping you as they ask those powerful questions is so vital, because left to ourselves, sometimes we might not always know how to navigate some of the issues that we're going to face in the new season. So thank you very much for your investment in us.
Thanks, Steve. That was unprompted, and that's awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kylie.
That's awesome. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock.